This week I'm not doing this in the car today, and I'm doing it round a friend. In fact, I'm doing it around my editor's house, although I should say at this point that here is a copy of Click. Should I be trusting this woman with my work? Who can say? Egg corns and milk toast. This week's word/phrase was suggested by Stoical Jack, or otherwise known as AKA Handsome Jack. He suggested it on Instagram. You can do that too. Go and find me as Puzzle Writer on Instagram. That's a thing that you can do. I did tell him to go to the Facebook page and do it there, but then he didn't. So, cool, I guess. Jack's specific suggestion was milk toast, not the egg corn bit, but milk toast. We'll get to the egg corn bit later on. I did ask him how he had come across this phrase, and he said that a friend of his had called him it when he failed to court a lady. That was his exact words, failed to court a lady, which is, amusing. At the time, he said that she literally terrified him, which I think all of us can understand that in some form or another, whether you are, whatever gender you are and whatever gender you prefer. Sometimes people terrify you when you try and chat them up. So milk toast, what does it mean? As I understand it, milk toast was a popular dish in the 19th and 20th centuries in New England for children or the sick or the weak. Although not as popular today, apparently it's still a thing. There are, of course, other cultures which have come up with this particular concoction, whether it be savoury or sweet. And I'd be interested to know whether there are other cultures which call each other milk toast when they're being a bit weak as well. Notable among those other cultures are the Syrian culture and the Norwegian culture. So if you're a Norwegian speaker or a Syrian speaker, I beg your pardon if I've got the name of the language wrong there. There might be several dialects in that country that I don't know about. And you call people milk toast when they're being a bit weak, then please let me know. So, as before stated, a milk toast is a timid or slightly weak or apologetic person. A few years ago, a mutual friend of mine and Handsome Jack's used to refer to similar people as side salads. They weren't really the steak you ordered, they were the bit you sort of left behind. Either way, when Jack made the suggestion, he spelt it with a Q-U-E, which I found interesting and strange. So why the bloody hell did he do that? Well, to find out, I'm going to do a quick costume change and then we're going to go into the car. So we're back, and there's a person in my car. Well, I asked him, and he said that that's the spelling that the internet told him is how it's spelt. That's not even a sentence really, is it? But, there we are. So the etymology of the phrase actually goes back to a character in a comic strip by H.T. Webster. That character was called Milk Toast. He was a weak and, apologetic character. But that character's name was spelt with the Q-U-E. In sort of, I guess, what you might call a Dickensian way, in as much as the character's name was ridiculous and sort of described a character trait. Either way, the interesting bit of this particular thing is that the Q-U-E spelling is generally considered to be a corruption. However, the etymology of the phrase goes back to that comic strip, to that particular character. So, although to spell it correctly would be to spell it with the L-K spelling as opposed to the Q-U-E spelling, which would be the correct way to refer to the etymology, that's actually not considered to be right. So you end up with this kind of paradox of a word where milk toast should be spelt with a... You get the point. And then something happened in the research. A little wormhole opened up into another lexical dimension. You see, everyday lexical corruptions or phrase corruptions actually do have a specific name. They're called egg corns. Interestingly, the proper name for an egg corn is an oronym, which is a deeply satisfying word to say. Oronym. It sounds like, I don't know, something out of Lord of the Rings, one of the good characters in Lord of the Rings who does some sword work or something. Now, these words are essentially a breed of homophones. So what happens is that, we talked about homophones before. Homophones are words where it sounds the same, but it has a different meaning. So no and no, N-O and K-N-O-W. I can spell. Now, an oronym is the phrase equivalent of this, but it's like its dickhead uncle. So even though the sound might be the same, the word will be different in the phrase, but it will sort of amount to the same sort of meaning. So a good example is The correct way to say it is all intents and purposes. If you're saying all intensive purposes, you are wrong. However, it does kind of mean the same thing, so you kind of get away with it. If you keep saying it, then, you know, we've done this before. Grammar is largely decided on consensus, or words are decided on consensus. So if everyone keeps saying intensive purposes, then that'll just become part of the language. But stop doing it, please. Further examples are daring do instead of during do. Or, slightly hilariously, duct tape instead of duct tape. Or a personal hate of mine, espresso instead of espresso. There is no X in espresso. I've posted a list of these eggcorns below in the description, so you can have a look. These examples were sent in by listeners of NPR in the United States, which I think is National Public Radio. Either way, I can tell you that reading it is both frustrating and entertaining in sort of equal measure. So there you are, Jack, you bloody side salad. There's a load of stuff about eggcorns and also milk toast, you milk toast. Haha, what banter. Anyway, if you like these videos, you might want to watch another one. You can click on a link just here. And I also make stories, I write stories. You could find one of those just here. And if you click on my face, you can do a subscribe. So well done to you. Have a good week or something, or don't. But if you don't, then bye then, bye.